Why do we have a national emergency? Why did Trump declare a national emergency regarding the border wall down in Mexico, with Mexico rather? Why did President Trump, this is what the narrative is in the media, by the way, today is the 31st of March, just to keep things updated. The narrative in the media is, oh, he's jacking money out of, basically like a trust fund. He's jacking money out of this extra account that the military has money in that they're going to use for recruitment purposes for next year. That was $1 billion. I think it was $1 billion. I'm basing this off of, I guess I should make my source pretty clear. Freaking Time magazine. Uh-oh. And of course, I had to get out my highlighters. Feel that? Okay. Acting defense, Mattis stepped down. General Mattis was the defense secretary. He stepped down. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan is going ahead with this project anyway. We're pulling money out of the Department of Defense's budget and we're putting it into the Drug Enforcement Agency's budget. But I'll explain more about that in a moment. On March 25th, I'm just quoting the article. On March 25th, he authorized the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to spend up to $1 billion for 57 miles of fencing, roads, and other measures on the southwestern border. And rather than asking for the money, the Defense Department simply told Congress what it was doing. That's an unprecedented tactic, and one that has drawn fire from Democrats and Republicans alike, who see it as sidestepping the legislature's power of the purse. Let's talk about that for a second. This issue isn't really about immigration so much as it is about letting our enemies globally infiltrate our country and letting them do so with smiles on our faces. And then when they get here, we give them food stamps. So, I don't know, any Iranians down in Venezuela, any Muslim ethnic Southern Russians that are currently in Venezuela right now because of the crisis over the presidential election with Juan and Maduro. And you have Venezuelans, you have Sunni Arabs. They all blend in. They look Spanish. They could pass as Spanish. You show it for what it is. Trump, a couple months ago, he went on TV, special Oval Office address, 9 p.m., all the channels flipped to it, and he spot out his case for why he needs the wall. And by the way, quote, the wall is referring to, yes, in some parts, a literal wall, in other parts, steel slats that are like 30 feet high with concertina wire all over them. The latest and greatest in electronic sensors and artificial intelligence response capabilities. We're currently, we use drones and we do overflights of the border every day, all the time, 24/7, looking for people, but also looking for, using artificial intelligence, looking for, I don't know what kind of technology this is, but they can see beneath the surface of the planet or see beneath the surface and they can tell whether or not tunnels are being dug. So when people say, oh, they're going to dig tunnels under the wall. Well, if you put that rebar down 50 feet, that's going to make it harder. But also, we can track that kind of stuff, and that's where the money's going. It's not just for a quote wall; it's for the whole thing. Fencing, smart fencing with sensors. Type into Google Israeli border wall automatic machine gun. In Israel, they were getting attacked left and right by the Palestinians. It's in the 90s. Intifada, I think it's the second uprising, I think is what it's called. All the time in Tel Aviv, these suicide bombers and these cafes were going off. They put up a wall. Overnight it stopped, literally. Some portions of the wall with the Gaza Strip, I don't think with the West Bank, but some portions of the wall with the Gaza Strip have automated machine gun sensors. If you get too close to the wall, and there are warning signs and there are fences leading up to it, but if you jump those fences and if you get too close to the wall, that machine gun, using artificial intelligence, will zoom in on you, lock, and fire. So that's what the Israelis are doing. We don't want to do that. We're just looking for basic, keep people out stuff, not necessarily having to kill them. Good grief. And just keep it so they can't get across because that's the problem. Trump's Oval Office address, he still painted this as an issue of immigration. And if you paint it as an issue of immigration, you're going to give the Democrats fuel and fodder to use in their campaigns. They're going to say, you know, this is a race issue. Donald Trump's racist, blah, blah, blah. Whether he is or not, it doesn't matter. This is in black and white from my notes here, and you can look this up. Thousands of, quote, refugees, migrants have been caught at both the northern borders with Canada and the United States and the southern border of Mexico and the United States. Thousands have been caught. People from around the world, Afghans, Syrians, people from the Middle East in general. Some of them have ISIS affiliations. There were three military-age men that were trying to cross over from Canada into New York a number of years ago, 2 years ago or so, and they were caught. They had ISIS affiliations. There were two men that were trying to sneak up into Texas from Mexico a few years ago, military-age men. They were caught, apprehended, again, ISIS affiliations. Who know, the media takes that and blacks it out because the media is generally liberal and they don't want there to be a cohesive, persuasive argument as to why we need to put this wall up. So this stuff gets blacked out. Maybe it's to not cause mass hysteria, I don't know. But if you go to Google and if you type in Iranian Quds Force, it's Quds Force. The Iranian Quds Force is the branch of their military that is responsible for foreign military operations. They have been inside of Venezuela for decades. Iran and Venezuela are very close. It's Iran's Russian-backed effort. What's going on right now? And I don't know why Trump didn't spit this during his Oval Office speech. I mean, I'm flummoxed. I mean, he should have used diagrams like Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. I mean, honestly, he should have spelled this out. Look, these Iranian, you know, and don't be like, you know, racist or anything, but just spell it out in Trumponian style, you know? Something like, you know, look, I'm very smart. I'm a smart guy. I can look at racial, you know, I'm doing Trump in the Oval Office address. He would probably have his hat, probably something like this. Look, I'm a smart guy. I know what I'm doing. I know about racial differences. I've read pretty much every book that's ever been written. Okay? I'm a smart guy. I know what's going on. The Iranians, and by the way, I know I'm making fun, I'm kind of mocking Trump, but what I'm saying is true. The Iranians, they're Persian, ethnically. They look like Spanish. Let's face it, people. Facts are facts. They look Spanish. They're Persian, and now go to Arabs. Arabs. Those are the terrorists who carried out the 9/11 attacks. Sunni Arab extremists. I'm a smart guy. I know what I'm doing. I have connections global. I'm a global mogul. Real estate empire. Juggernaut. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Now because of this Venezuelan crisis over the Maduro false election, Russian troops and military aircraft are sitting in Venezuela as I speak. The U.S. Congress, we have floated the idea to the American public through the media of sending 5,000 troops into Colombia to sit on the border of Venezuela in case some kind of a proxy war. If the military within Venezuela fragments and they begin to fight. One pro-Juan Guaido, or however you pronounce it, and then the other faction pro-Maduro. Now, again, the Iranian Quds Force, these are the best of the best. These guys would be sent over here, just like our Special Operations Forces, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, etc. They blend in with the population. They would have elaborate backstories, all of the paperwork that they would need, fraudulent of course, but all the paperwork that they would need. They would know the accent, Spanish, for that particular region, for that particular country. They would know the dialect for that region within the country. You know, these are smart guys. Iranians aren't dumb. Persians are smart dudes. They're good. They know what they're doing with regards to, I'm not talking about the government, I'm talking about the race, Persians. The Persian Empire turned into ultimately the Parthian Empire, and that turned into the Iranian Empire V3, which is what I call it, the Iranian Empire version 3 right now, the Shiite Crescent, spanning the Middle East. I'm getting off track. Remember that guy in Dallas? One guy, he had taken, I think, 3 weeks of tactical classes, and he had been in the Marines. That Dallas shooter a number of years ago, one guy opened up, and I think within a matter of like 5 seconds, he had killed 4 people and wounded like 6. And then for the following hours, he did evasive maneuver tactics, and it got to the point where the cops couldn't get to him. And they were like, the only way we can get to this guy safely is to just throw a freaking satchel bomb at him. And that's what they ended up doing. They took a robot, they threw a satchel bomb at him, they killed him. Because he knew what he was doing. Now imagine 10 of those. Google 2008 Mumbai, India attacks. Mumbai, the attacks in India. That was like 5 dudes. They spread out across the city. Imagine 10 Iranian special operations forces, equivalent to America's version of Navy SEALs. And they're probably already here, to be honest, because of the lack of border security. Imagine 10 of those guys fanning out. And also, think of the Las Vegas shooting. Think of 10 of those guys fanning out across the city. Think of the massacres. I think that's one reason why the United States has not attacked Iran thus far, because of these cells that are sitting here. They could erupt at any moment. Had Trump made this point in his Oval Office address, which was his pulpit, that was when he could have made his point. If he would have framed it in the light in which I am right now, which is reality, any politician, Democratic or Republican, who dared to speak out against it would be seen as being soft on national security, first and foremost, as opposed to being soft on immigration, because immigration has become a buzzword for racism. We don't want to end up like Germany, letting in 3 million of these people. But just build it, man. That money that we took out from the appropriations fund, that money was sitting there for the recruitment of soldiers next year. It was sitting there. People are making a big fuss. It wasn't going anywhere. It was discretionary. We took it to build a wall to protect us against literal nation-state enemies. Because also there's Chinese, there's ethnic Russians from the Caucasus regions. They can probably pass as Spanish, some of them. And they also have Muslim connections. I mean, this is on fire. So that's why Trump declared a national emergency, and that's why he vetoed down Congress's attempts to block it. And that's why his veto stood strong, because people who are in the know and who aren't trying to grab up votes by letting in a bunch of illegal immigrants who are Spanish, and most of them are, legitimate. They're looking for help. They need to go about it the right way. They can't just bull rush the border. But people in Congress are steadily coming on board with the realities of what's going on. The fact that it's never talked about in the media is upsetting to me. Iran's presence in Venezuela spans back to the late 1990s. But I'm going to hit it. It's 13 minutes. This is the Roundhouse Report. I was supposed to say this at the beginning of the video, but I'm flummoxed. I just stumbled up. I just got up. I still have my Christmas tree up. I mean, honestly, it's freaking March, but Roundhouse Report, Jody Roundhouse. Please subscribe, and please hit me up on minds.com/Jody Roundhouse, Jody with a Y. That's a man's name. If you spell it with an I, it immediately transfers into a girl's name. Jody's a man's name. Spell it with a Y.